Hello, movie lovers. Welcome back to SignaTeak channel. Today is all about fresh cinema experiences, and I can't wait to share my thoughts on the newest filmmaking its mark. Sit back, relax, and let's dive into the recap of this exciting cinematic adventure, Bel Air, California. In 1926, Manny Torres met a truck driver who helped him transport an elephant to a party hosted by studio boss Don Wallach. Despite being told that he was transporting a horse, Manny bribes the driver to transport the elephant. On the way up the hill, the truck begins to tilt under the weight of the elephant. Manny and his partner try to push the truck back, but the elephant falls hard on top of Manny's partner. Manny is rescued by a convoy who brings an elephant to the party. The parties are lavish and over the top with lots of naked or topless women and a variety of drag. Jazz musician Sidney Palmer performs with his band, and cabaret singer Ladyface sings an eerie song to the audience. Jack Conrad, an experienced actor, is also present at the party, but his wife Ina constantly speaks in Italian and demands a divorce from her because she doesn't take him seriously. During the party, Jack begins an affair with a waitress. Manny also witnesses a young woman, Nellie L'Oreal, arrive having crashed her car into a statue. When her security guard tried to deny her entry, Manny helped her get inside. He puts Nellie in a room with drugs, and they deal with it together. Nellie is from New Jersey and wants to be famous, and Manny is from Mexico and wants to make his mark in the film industry, she says. Manny immediately falls in love with Nellie. Young actress Jane Fonda overdoses on drugs while partying with an older man and ends up showering him with money. Manny's boss, Bob Levin, orders him and his colleagues to solve the problem. They release an elephant into the party, panicking the other partygoers, and are able to sneak Jane, who has lost her consciousness, into the party unnoticed. Nellie, extremely drunk, dances her way through the crowd, leaving an impression. As the party draws to a close, Nellie receives an invitation to the movie set where Jane was supposed to play her role. Manny is ordered by Bob to take an unconscious Jack home. Even though he gets a little drunk and falls off the balcony into the pool, Jack is fine and asks Manny to stay with him. Later that day, Jack begins work on the epic Crusader movie. Manny has to deal with the extras as they attack him, but Manny grabs his gun and rides him off on his horse. The horse has destroyed all the cameras, so the director wants to take one last shot before the sun sets. Manny drives to the camera store and waits for over an hour until the last camera is gone. With time running out, Manny steals an ambulance and returns to the set, where he gets a memorable shot of Jack kissing the leading lady and a butterfly landing on him. The crew members cheer. At that moment, Nellie appeared on the set and met director Ruth Adler and assistant director Max. Olivia wanted another actress with boobs, but she chose Nellie. She will play a role in a silent western where she enters a bar and pretends to be part of the crew. When the film's lead actress, Constance Moore, arrives, Nellie impresses both Ruth and the guests from Wallach with her performance. A fire breaks out near the set, and filming is about to be interrupted, but Ruth orders the cameras to keep rolling. In 1927, Nellie's star began to rise in Hollywood, and her work in films continued to surpass Constance's. Constance is upset because it is her own money that is being spent on her movie. Nellie's father, Robert, shows up and tries to take advantage of her newfound fame. Meanwhile, Jack helps Manny find help for the movie. Jack marries Hungarian actress Olda Patti, but when she learns that he has been cheating on her, she shoots him in the arm. Manny goes to the movie theater to see The Jazz Singer, one of his first talking movies. He calls Jack to tell him that things are about to change. In 1928, Manny finds Nellie again after protecting her from overzealous fans and photographers. She talks to him about the perceptions people have of her and how she tries not to let it define her. He accompanies her to visit her mother in an institution. Nellie is working on a talkie movie, but it's too hot on set, and Lloyd, the sound engineer, keeps nagging about Nellie's voice being too loud or quiet and other distractions, and she and Ruth are stressed out. One of the staff members asked to be removed from the recording booth because it was too hot, but Max forced him to stay there. When the crew finally succeeded in firing, everyone cheered until the crew member collapsed from the cabin and died of heat exhaustion. Many people go to another party, where Jack shows up with his third wife, Estelle. Sidney and his band perform, and Faye also appears as a guest. Nellie is transported to the soccer team and gets the chance to kiss Jack in front of Estelle. Faye begins to dance sensually with Nellie, but is interrupted when a drunk partygoer steps between them. When she went to the bathroom to freshen up, Nellie overheard a conversation between two men about how she had no talent and that she sounded like a dying pig, and she was deeply hurt. Masu. She then went outside and saw her father talking with another woman about the fight with the snake. Nellie gathers everyone and asks if anyone would like to see Robert fight a snake, to which the audience cheers. Jack, Nellie, Manny, Faye, Robert, and the other guests head to the desert, where Nellie encounters a rattlesnake and asks Robert to fight it. Robert prepares for battle, but fails. Nellie then decides to fight the snake herself. Despite warnings from other guests, Nellie grabbed the snake and bit it in the neck. After her frantic running around and others failing to save her, Faye picked up a knife and decapitated her snake, then sucked her venom from her Nellie's throat. When Nellie regains consciousness, she passionately kisses Faye. Manny then offers Sydney a job at Kinscope Studios. Bob is impressed with Manny's work and offers him a leadership position, but he must do something about Nellie, whose reputation is tarnished by her constant partying, gambling, and alleged affair with Faye. He tells Manny that he has to. As Hollywood becomes increasingly puritanical, Faye ends up being fired. Nellie overhears Manny suggesting to her boss that she should improve her own reputation, and teams up with gossip journalist Eleanor Street John to get her back on track. Sydney begins working at Kinscope Studios as more and more films are starring black actors. However, he becomes upset and uncomfortable when Manny suggests that he wear black makeup. He leaves the studio forever and never returns. Jack learns that his best friend George Mann murdered a woman with whom he had an affair and then committed suicide. Jack becomes upset when Estelle calls his work low art and they get into an argument. In 1930, Hollywood switched completely to talkies. Manny and Eleanor have worked hard to polish Nellie's image. She is invited to a party attended by other smoothies, celebrities, and movie people, and tries to project a more prominent and sophisticated image. However, Nellie can no longer hide her disdain for her other guests, and she complains before going wild, fiddling with her food. Seconds later, she returned and vomited on the carpet and into the party host's face. In 1932, Jack realized that his career was going downhill. He continues to produce low-budget films at Kinescope, and whenever he goes to the theater, the audience laughs at his performance in the previous film. Jack also reads the column Eleanor wrote after interviewing him about the fading star and goes to see her. She blatantly tells him that his time as an actor is over, but that he and others of his era will be immortalized to future generations in their films. Therefore, he can take solace in the fact that they have left their mark on the industry. Later, Jack receives a phone call from Irving Thalberg, who initially tells him that he has a good project, but Jack knows he does him a favor, and Talbert says that the project is the worst. I admit it. Manny's house is visited by a disheveled and panicked Nellie. He tells her that she owes the gang $85,000 from gambling, and that if she doesn't pay up by the end of the week, he will pour acid on her genitals. Manny initially refuses to help her, but when she sees how desperate Nellie is, she remembers their time together and decides to help her. He turns to the Count, a longtime colleague and aspiring actor who sells drugs on set. Manny and the Count head to gangster James McKay's house with a bag of money. When McKay goes to get a drink, the Earl reveals that he has prop money in his bag, making Manny extremely nervous. McKay and the thug Wilson invite them to an underground location where depraved sex acts are taking place. McKay leads them to their biggest attraction, a brutal man who eats live rats. When McKay started throwing prop money at the man, he found water droplets on it and realized it was fake. Manny grabs a mace and slams it into Wilson's neck, and the other men chase after him. Manny releases the chained alligator and continues running. Manny picks up Nellie and urges her to flee with him to Mexico. Together with the Count, they pack up and go in search of petrol. When Manny starts to get fed up, Nellie enters the party and she starts dancing. When she stresses